Welcome, GRIFF, to the greatest show on earth. Hello. GRIFF, I'm here, Brad. I no idea how to do intros. GRIFF, what is up? How's life? Welcome, happy 7:30. We are live on YouTube, as you can see. Are you happy to be here?
Always.
Brad, always.
We're always happy to be here, doing another episode of Take This.
This is episode 37. Episode number 37. Can you believe it?
So I can't. We've been doing this for it doesn't feel like we've been doing it that long, but yeah, We've been doing it for a little while now. I always want to, we've been doing it for 37 weeks, but we've had some double episode weeks in there, so it's not quite that long. But
that's true.
Brad, I just want to, before we get started, by the way, I see people refer to like scoreboards as score bugs?
Oh,
what does that mean? Why is it called score bug?
I thought you were going to ask about my sling.
We'll get to that. But
so
this is.
I don't know. I actually do it because other people started doing it.
So you're just a blind follower to whatever.
Absolutely. I don't know. Because I don't think that that's what it is. Normally, like I used to refer to them as like the lower third. I think like that's like sort of what it's called in like filmography, right? So like if you're designing how like a scoreboard looks on like ESPN.
I'm just looking at Wikipedia right now. It's apparently just always been called a score bug.
I've never called it that before.
Most people I think have referred to it as a scoreboard, but it's called a score bug because it's digital, So that's probably that's where the name comes from. Anyway, I was just I was asking because I was just looking up. CBS, I think, unveiled a new score bug, a new scoreboard, or at least maybe I just didn't realize they had changed it.
What sport?
I think it's
is it for football?
Football.
Oh,
football.
Okay.
It reminds me of the Fox's old one when they had the long bar at the bottom of the screen.
I've always liked CBS's. They've always looked kind of cool.
Yeah, like I'm looking.
I didn't see this new one, though.
I've liked most of the iterations. I think I actually think this new one might be my favorite. I'm a big fan of score bugs that have the logo in it, the abbreviation and the
you mean of the team?
Yeah, like the team logo.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Fox doesn't have the team logo, or at least they didn't used to. I don't know if their new ones do.
Their current one that's been around for a couple of years, I believe, does. That's the one that doesn't look like any of their other branding for some reason. Like it's the one that doesn't look like any of the other sports that they cover.
Yeah,
and then they started getting away from all of that, which has bothered me personally.
Yeah,
like because now their basketball stuff. Like if you turn on FS1 and watch a college basketball game, like that is garbage. Same thing with the basketball games on Big Ten Network. That's garbage. Like I cannot stand the graphics and the branding. Okay, so from a design perspective, it bugs me because we got rid of 3D design in 2012. Like after Apple had released iOS 15, not 15, that's what we're on now. After Apple had released iOS 7, okay? Mm-hmm. It started becoming a trend to make minimalistic 2D design, okay?
That's
right around the time. Microsoft changed their logo. Windows had changed their logo at that around that time. Like all these companies had changed their logo to what you would call like a flat design, right?
It's a minimalist design.
Exactly.
I don't like most minimalist design, but I do like it on scoreboards.
But anyway, so it bugs me that the Big Ten has done all this because it's so old, like it's just so old, and I'm like, what is wrong with anyway, I digress. It's not a fan.
Like I said, so, by the way, the Fox's new one, it's like a condensed one. They unveiled it, and
don't even get me started about their baseball scoreboards.
That 3D nightmare, I know, but the new one's like condensed, and I don't mind it. But I like you can either just have the logo or you just have the words. They typically don't have both, and I'm less of a fan of that. I don't know. I just think like that's a little too condensed. It does display the information relatively well. I just think the CBS scoreboard, I like the long bar at the bottom. I've always preferred that. I think them and NBC have two of the best ones. But most of the channels have good ones. Anyway, the only reason I brought it up is because, we were just talking before this. Brad had not actually seen the ending of the Cowboys 49ers game and the slide, the QB draw.
I heard about it. I heard a lot about it, but I didn't.
It would be hard not to if you are on any form of sports Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, my favorite thing about it is Tony Romo's call. I don't dislike Tony Romo. I think his.
Oh, I do. I do.
I don't dislike him. His time as an announcer is wearing on me a little bit because it's a little.
Okay.
Oh, well, Jim. But so they ran the play, right? And Dak runs 5 yards, 10 yards too far, slides down, and immediately Jim Nantz is like, oh, there's like 8 seconds on the clock. And he's like, they're not going to get this. And he's like, no, they will. They'll have time to get up and clock it. But because Dak did not give the ball to the umpire, it's like as the ref is like trying to plow through the linemen, because again, Cowboys didn't give it to the fucking ref like you're supposed to. And by the way, how bad is your coaching staff to not say, hey, Dak, as soon as you slide down with the ball, give it to the referee so he can set it? Like that should have been the last thing you told him breaking like the huddle or in through the helmet or whatever it was. And my favorite thing is like as the ref is trying to set the ball and Tony Romo realizes that they're not going to get the playoff, he just very kind of quietly goes, oh my gosh. He goes literally, oh my gosh, like, oh my gosh. And no hate on Tony, because I will give him this respect. Even though he's a former Cowboy, he called the game relatively down the middle. It was probably about as well as you could. I prefer him over Troy Aikman.
He's not like Alex Rodriguez, where he's like, oh, like every single thing that he says is garbage.
Troy Aikman, well, yeah.
Alex Rodriguez could go kick a can for all I care.
But like, it's kind of funny because like Troy Aikman, if he was on it, I think it would have been worse because I think Troy Aikman's more of a homer than Tony. And I think Troy would have been like, Troy's normally pretty good. I just feel like with it, if it's a Cowboys in that situation, I feel like he'd be bitching and moaning a lot. Anyway, we got very off track. I mean, this kind of does lead into the show in terms of, we're talking more playoff football and all that.
It does, yeah, that's true.
We got some other, that was really the big story. That and awful officiating. Can't wait for the Super Bowl to be decided on a fluke play. It's going to be awesome.
Can't wait.
Can't wait for Aaron Rodgers to not go to the Super Bowl again and lose in the NFC Championship because of a bad call. Oh my God, I'd be. Oh, I'd be stoked. Even I know it's bad overall, but I, as a Lions fan, would be happy.
So I turned on ESPN, and I'm turning on all these stations today, and all I'm seeing, right? I don't know if this is just because I missed the first week or first like half the week or whatever, because I was in a hospital bed for 40 hours.
But leave them
anyway.
On that? All right.
Well, so anyway, so I'm in this. So I don't know, right? So like I'm only watching TV. This is the first like sort of sports media I've watched today. I watched ESPN for a little bit, First Take, and it was just on in the background at this point, because I didn't have work and all that, but I was working on some stuff and homework and stuff. But anyway, so I'm sitting there watching it, and they're talking like 12 versus 12, all right? And like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, right? Like 12 versus 12, right? Like if you had to pick one to have on your team and, in the divisional round, like which one would you take? And like, and I don't know if that's just them pulling our leg, because they got nothing else to talk about. And that's the only, there's a lot of news to talk about, to be honest. You could talk about Stafford and how, this is kind of that chance for him to prove his worth, and a win versus Brady, it would be a lot, to say towards that. You could talk about the Titans. For some fucking reason, we're not doing that. The Titans are just here and nobody's talking about it. The Titans just exist in the divisional round with a bye of all things, and they're just here at a 12-win season. Nobody says a thing. Damn. So, or you got Joe Burrow and his swag you could talk about. But no, they decided to talk about 12 versus 12. Now, Griff, who do you have? Who would you take? Would you take Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Like, are we talking just this year?
We're talking right now. We're talking right now. This moment in time.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, are we saying to get me through the rest of this playoffs? Or
We're
are we
talking
saying, like,
to get you in this game. Well, okay. So, like, I guess it would be a little different, right? Because it'd be Brady versus the Rams and Rodgers versus the 49ers.
Listen, if I could take, like, let's say we had a good team and I got to put a quarterback on that team to win a game. At this point in their career, I would take Rodgers.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Brady, obviously. It's just like Brady's 44, dude. Like, there's only so much you can keep doing at that age.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's true. And I think that Brady is, and I don't know if he's going to surprise us all or whatever he's going to do. It's weird because he keeps doing so much, and I don't know if he's going to have another one of those things that he had last season before he won the Super Bowl. The same year he won the Super Bowl, he forgot what down it was, and I was like, dude, it's just I don't think that is Aaron Rodgers really the fault of his own situation? Because I hear all this stuff, and Aaron Rodgers only has one NFC championship to show for his career.
He's got one Super Bowl and one NFC championship.
Well, that's the thing, right? The one time he went, he won.
Niners 3 times. Lost that game to Seattle, and they never should have lost it. They lost to the Giants when they went on their unpredictable run.
Okay, Mr. NFC. Dude is Mr. NFC. Nothing else.
But he's not even Mr. NFC because he doesn't win the NFC.
Yeah, but I mean,
the championship, he doesn't win it.
That's true.
He's won every Super Bowl.
Mr. NFC divisional rounds.
Yeah. But here's the thing, it's really it's Brady. Rodgers has played well in all of those games. It's just been his coaching, Mike McCarthy. That's hard to do anything with, and we saw what happened with the Cowboys this last Sunday. So, yeah, I think this is the year though. I think this is the year they do it, even if the NFC. We're now getting down to the stacked of the most stacked, it's going to be I think the NFC is a lot better than the AFC. I think it's Titans, Chiefs, and then it's Bucks, Rams, and Packers are those are the teams, right? Those are the powerhouses.
You don't think the Bengals could do it
in the division?
You don't think the Bengals could do it?
Not after what I saw in that Raiders game.
Did you?
I loved me the Bengals. I love me some
true.
Joe Burrow, but didn't look like they're going to be able to do enough.
So when the Giants won the Super Bowl, either of them, did you think that they could do it that year?
No. No, God, no.
Yeah, that's true. No.
Hell no, but that's why football's great.
I suppose.
Although we don't need 7 fucking teams in the playoff. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
the 7 seeds are 0-4 and have an average. The average loss margin is 20 points or something, and that's ridiculous in the NFL. That's
in football. That's just how it is. I mean, that's a big reason why people are such big proponents against expanding so far in the college football playoff, and it's not only just because
the college football
there's a wider margin.
130 teams, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I can, and there's 5 conferences. I can at least understand it, right? I don't necessarily like it, but I understand expanding the college football playoff.
And it's fine the way it is.
All expanding the NFL playoff is done. Yes, it's a lot easier for the Steelers to beat the Chiefs than it is for like Baylor to beat Bama, right? Like I think we can all agree on that,
In
right? Like
the only years that it would make sense to expand would be in like last year when the NFC East was just that terrible and one division is sort of the outlier weighing everyone down. And like in a way you're kind of holding other teams back because you are in fact stealing a spot. And so another team would deserve to get in over you.
Like the Giants, their improbable runs, those are outliers. Those are exceptions.
That's true. That's true.
And I just think 6 was good. I think having 2 teams get the bye is fine. I think a team that goes 13.
So what did they change about it this year when they changed the format?
Well, there's nothing. It was the same as it was last year.
Okay, well, what was it last year?
7. It was still the same. It was 4 division winners.
So when was the last time that 2 teams got a bye?
It would have been the 2019 season.
Okay, so what was the format there? It was 2 byes, and then
the top 2 division winners get a bye, and then so the seeds 1 and 2, who by default have to be division,
and then it'd be 2 wild cards against 2 division winners,
and then two wild cards.
Right. But so now, how many wild cards are there?
3. They just added 1.
So they added a wild card spot. That's dumb. I don't like that. See, I just don't like that format. Like I know maybe because of COVID, like I just didn't pay attention or whatever to the NFL playoffs.
Well, the issue
I don't know
is,
why.
There's only 4 divisions. It's not like baseball where there's 3 or 5 or whatever. There's 4 divisions,
right?
And they have a winner from each one, and then 2 wild cards, which is a fine. And here's the thing. Here's why they went to 7. They're preparing us for 8.
That's stupid.
Which are like, are we gonna does the 1 seed have to beat an 8 seed, or are we gonna do like all division winners get a bye and the wild card week is like
that? See that isn't that hard, because like at that point you would have to do something just very unnormal to do, right? Like you would have to give.
If they expanded it to 8 teams.
Would you be no buys? Would you do no buys?
They would. I think that's the only way you could do it. So you're just playing for seeding, like,
or you could do it.
Think if you're like the Titans. I think they'd be. Funnily enough, the Titans would be going against the Chargers, and the Chiefs would be going against the Steelers this year. The Chiefs probably got the easier matchup, if I'm being honest.
The only thing that they could do that I think I would like and go to 8 is if they did 6 versus 8, and 5 versus 8 and 6 versus 7, and then have that as a play-in, and then they play the top 4. Like you do 4 wild cards, and then you do the 4 division winners, and you do a play-in almost, and then the winners of those games go on to play.
Yeah, the issue is when you would be extending. So
you would essentially extend it around, and I don't think that they would do that.
Well, I don't think they'll do that because now the teams with buys don't play for 2 weeks,
and that's in that form, right? And that's the issue,
because you can't in football. It's not like baseball where you can play a game that quickly back to back. You got to give them a week between.
Right.
You can't rush them. So yeah, I think they're going to go to 8, and I think they're going to get rid of the buys entirely, and I'm going to hate it. I do not think that half of the NFL teams should be getting into the playoffs. It devalues the regular season. And by the way, 17 games was too many. I think they're going to go to 18.
That's so bad.
And you know what?
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think they're going to go to 18, and it'll be either a 19 or 20-week season. I think if they try to go to 18, the Players Union is going to say, you got to put 2 bye weeks in then. Like, you have to have 2 bye weeks. Because you can't, like... We're seeing it. All of these players are going to be injured to shit by the time they go to the playoffs. You need 2 bye weeks if you go to 18 games. And they probably need 2 bye weeks now.
Yeah. And it's the same reason why I bring up that the baseball season should be shortened. I mean, we already know who's in the playoffs by the end of September, or not even September, but August.
Even if you shorten it, it's just like teams know when they have to be good by. Like all it does is give a chance for teams to rally late. But like I just think it's unnecessary. It's really unnecessary.
And I agree. I 100% agree. Griff, you know what I did over the weekend? Besides have a seizure, because I apparently have epilepsy. Just laying that all out on the air. live on air.
No explanation.
No explanation at all. So before that happened, and I was in a hospital for 40 hours for some reason. I don't understand why they kept me in the hospital for so long, but I digress.
Just seizures are weird like that.
It was like they treated it like it was a hotel. But because the other times that I've had seizures, like they just released me the next day, and I start rehabilitating from there. But anyway, so I went to a Red Wings game on Saturday night. All right, the Red Wings were playing the Buffalo Sabres, and that was exciting, very exciting time. It was a home game for the Red Wings, obviously. Anyway, so I go to this game, and I've never been to Little Caesars Arena before. Never been. All right. I've been to Joe Louis Arena many a times. A lot, actually. My dad used to have season tickets. We'd go a lot. We'd go downtown. Now I want to review Little Caesars Arena for you. Okay. Now you've been, obviously, right? So
a handful of times, yes.
Right. So
4 times.
On immediate impression, you know what has improved about Little Caesars Arena?
What's
parking. Exclusively parking.
Oh, well, the parking. Well, where did you park?
So I parked at. It was
in the arena parking.
No, I don't think so. It was District Detroit or something like that. District Detroit parking, like right across from Comerica.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. By the way, District Detroit, one of the biggest lies ever told.
I am well aware, Griff. I've heard all about it from you.
That's a whole other episode in its entirety, and we're not jumping into that right now. Just a friendly reminder. Fuck you, Chris Illich. Anyway,
yeah. So I parked downtown, right downtown, where they do. It was right across from Comerica Park, like really nice, everything. It was a lot of fun down there. So parking was better, and I don't know how parking was at Joe Louis Arena. I didn't drive. I was 7, so I didn't drive. So anyway, I do remember walking though to the Joe Louis Arena, and I don't know if you ever remember as a kid, like walking to Joe Louis Arena, down to see the Red Wings. But I remember walking like this long winded staircase or something like that. Like it was this long thing. It felt like a 15-minute walk to get into the arena. This was like 10, maybe max. That was like 5 minutes. Nothing. It was nothing. It was great though, but it was great. The arena, on the other hand, you know what it reminded me of? An airport. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of an airport. Like it is straight up an airport. Like you go to the escalator there's like a big ass staircase, because we were seated at the top. Okay? Like at the very, very, very top. And so we're sitting, and I felt like I was going to fall down. And it was interesting.
It's very steep.
Oh, it is, because I'm not rich enough to afford the nice seats, as you would say.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get to experience that when I go see Michigan play Michigan State at Little Caesars Arena. So hopefully that happens. But for now, I'll just because it felt like I was so far away from the game. Like it felt like I wasn't experiencing everything, because I could not hear when the buzzer sounded for the end of the period. I couldn't hear that. All I heard was I could hear the whistle over that. It just stupid things like that I had no interest in, and it was interesting. So I just wanted to give out my review. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars from my experience. That's actually what I gave it on their survey afterwards.
Yeah, I think we were promised a lot more. I think the concourse is very cool and very nice.
Didn't the Pistons say that they were? Didn't the Pistons say that that there wasn't enough Pistons stuff in there?
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're like, oh, look, we're not. It's not a Pistons and Red Wings stadium. It's a Red Wings stadium with a Pistons on the side. Like, yeah, dipshits. It wasn't designed with you in mind.
Um,
Sorry, I don't care.
I just think that's hilarious to me. God, like I don't know. It was fun. You know how much my Coca-Cola costs? $8. It was $8 for
I mean, that's just
for a Coke. $8, and it wasn't even a big Coke. Like it was a Wendy's medium, straight up. It was a Wendy's medium, and it was like $8. Like, because I'm not expecting anything like massive, you know. But
right.
Wendy's
No,
large
but,
is like, you know, I don't know.
No,
like
I think it's a fine arena. I just don't think for especially all the money that was paid to go into it, local money, and the failure of District Detroit around it. I think that really puts the negative taste in my mouth.
yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. I just think
I mean, it sucks because like it doesn't feel like a Red Wings arena.
it feels like a Red Wings arena. It just feels like all the flash feels fake. It feels faux.
No, I know what
Feels
you
like
mean.
It's like
Jumbotron is massive.
Like, have you seen SoFi Stadium and how crazy that fucking stadium is for the Rams and Chargers? They wanted to be the SoFi of hockey arenas, and it just nowhere close. Like that crazy shit on the roof with like like a you know, like the dancing roof with like all the LED lights and shit. Never anything like that, unfortunately. So
Interesting.
whatever.
It's like an airport. Like if I
to
went to DTW, whatever, LAX, like same thing. That's what all it felt like. All I could think of was an airport.
I'm going to the game this Friday, and then I have a flight Saturday morning, so I'll just go from one airport to another.
Perfect. I mean, it's essentially what it is.
Brad, let's get into the real meat and potatoes, the show.
The meat and potatoes. You know, I love it when you say that.
I do say it quite a bit. But, you know, that was some fun little conjecture stuff. But we're going to talk about our way too early predictions for Michigan and Michigan State going into next year. All right, Brad, start off with an easy one. Will Jim Harbaugh be the head football coach of the Michigan Wolverines? Yes or no? Please answer in 15 words or less. Thanks.
I don't know. It's impossible to say. And so here's and this is not going to be 15 words or less. I want you to know that.
No, I was joking, and I honestly don't want to talk about it because I don't care until something's real. That's because we've heard,
and that should be your takeaway.
And I know this seems a little more real than previous years, but until it's real, it isn't in my mind. So,
and that's totally fair. Because before you would hear a lot of the stuff like I remember it was either, I think it was 2019 or something like that. I keep getting these notifications on my Apple News or Apple like news notifications. There used to be or there is a show. God, I can't remember. Pro Football Talk or something like that. PFT. They used to they would talk about it, and like they would talk about how Jim Harbaugh to the NFL, like Jim Harbaugh to the NFL, Harbaugh looking at the NFL, NFL teams looking at Harbaugh, but they offer no names of any NFL teams that were looking at Harbaugh, like zero evidence of anything.
It was just conjecture of what teams had openings.
It was, but it was also only like them talking about it as if it were real. And it bugged me because they talked about it like it was credible information. Like they talked about it as if they were bringing about something that was like real or happening or newsworthy, whatever. And it bugged the shit out of me because it wasn't. It was fake and it was wrong. And I was 100% certain that this was, and I know Mike Valeni had talked about this a lot, how he wouldn't be surprised. And he's not saying it was true because I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't want to put words in my mouth, whatever. But it would not be surprising if those rumors back in 2019, 2020 were sort of a facade to justify re-signing Jim Harbaugh before the 2020 season when he got that massive pay cut. And that was sort of the thing, right? Is
Let me tell you
is you
what
you bring up all this hype for him, and then all of a sudden you sign him, and yeah, we're bringing in an in-demand coach, and that's kind of what they did. But go on. I don't think that this is that. By the way, I don't think that this is that. This is nothing like that. But anyway, sorry.
No. Well, here's what I think. I think the biggest thing, I think Harbaugh, I think the biggest reason he hasn't played ball yet is because he does not know if Michigan is going to fully invest in letting him use the transfer portal and NIL. I'm gonna be real. If Michigan and Michigan State, like I know Tuck's using the transfer portal, but I think they're both very behind the ball on NIL. And if they don't give, like if I'm Jim Harbaugh and the university isn't giving me carte blanche to go nuts and do whatever I need to do to get recruits in, including using NIL and including using the portal, I'm out. Because here's the thing, that mountaintop he got to, he'll never get back to it if he can't utilize the same tools that every other school in the country is already utilizing. Texas A&M is paying players what, $500 a month or something, $500,000 contracts to come play. Like, if you do not look at what where does Deion Sanders coach Prime? He got like the number one recruit in all of college football. You know, the number one recruit in the country. He was the cornerback, and he got him because they basically said, "Here's $1 million, come play for us." So like, if Michigan isn't giving Harbaugh that to play on the same level playing field as everyone else, I wouldn't come back because I know I'm just going to, continue to fail and be ridiculed and have my legacy tarnish. So I think if he leaves, that will be the reason why. But I'm going to talk about next year as if he is here. I'm hoping the university will realize if you want your program to mean anything, this is what you need to do. And I'm hoping them getting to the playoff this year shows them how far apart they still are from the Alabamas and Georgias. So with all that being said, looking forward to next year, let's look at the personnel of Michigan. I think the biggest question will be the quarterback. Yeah, are you going to play JJ? Are you going to play Cade? Cade was I'm going to say very good quarterback. And when I say very good, I mean he played the game well. He was the game manager they needed to be. Did not commit many turnovers except in the biggest game of the year against Georgia for whatever fucking reason. But not going to hold one game against him as his whole legacy. He had a very good season. He was a very big part in the reason we were able to beat Ohio State. And he made big time throws in a few key situations and a few key games that even allowed us to get to Indy and to the college football playoff. Does JJ probably have more upside if you can develop him? Most likely. I would say, yeah. I think Cade is a high floor, but lower. I'm not going to say like a low ceiling, but lower ceiling guy than JJ. Whereas I think JJ has that bigger boom bust possibility. And I think JJ's floor can rise if he's developed. Like, I think we saw some good flashes from him this year, and I think we can continue to see that. Now, the big thing here is, can Michigan keep them both? Like, or it really is, can they play Cade this year and not have JJ transfer? I think if you got to pick one and the other one's, see it, it's going somewhere else. So you got to, kind of put your foot in the ground and make a decision. If I had to, gun to my head, I'm probably taking JJ for the long term, right? You can get him for 3 years of play, and you can develop him, and he does have the higher upside. Like I said, if I'm making the choice, one or the other, and the other one's not going to be here, I'm picking JJ. If I could play Cade this year and know JJ would stick around for another year, and then knowing he's going to get the full reins in his junior year, I would do that. But the thing is, I don't know. I don't think you can do that. I think one of them is going to say, or they're both going to be like, it's ultimatum, me or him, pick one. And if that gun to my head decision, I'll take JJ and ride the lightning. Now, I think a big thing, though, in the Michigan passing game, regardless of who's playing quarterback, they're getting Ronnie Bell back. Arguably their best offensive weapon. honestly, when he got hurt at the beginning of this year, I thought their season was cooked because I thought he was their best player on offense. Like, yeah, he's better than Hassan Haskins in terms of like value on that offensive side of the ball. He is that good, and he's up there with some of the better receivers. And I think if he has a good year this year, which as long as he doesn't get hurt, he should. He's going to go into the draft and be drafted at a decent position. I don't know where exactly. I don't know if he's going to be a first round caliber talent, but he'll be on an NFL roster. If Donovan Peoples-Jones is playing consistently for the Browns, Ronnie Bell will be a consistent starter on some team. Okay, so you talk about all this. Obviously there's a lot of young players. They got what's his name, Edwards, one of the running backs. You still have Blake Corum. Haskins obviously is gone. Got a lot of young players. Andrell Anthony is back from a pretty good freshman year. They got a lot of players to do some things with. It's just a matter of, can Josh Gaddis take another step forward as a play caller and continue to do what he did last year? And on the defense, can you fill the hole of Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson? Because let's be real, they're probably the best defensive players Michigan has had. I'm not going to say like since Charles Woodson, but since Charles Woodson, like in terms of just like impact players and like NFL caliber players, they're not nowhere near as good as Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson might be one of the greatest defensive player I've ever seen, if not the greatest defensive player I've ever seen. So, but no, like those are two very, very good players that you're going to have to replace on this defense. And I think their secondary needs some severe revamping. So we're going to have to see what they do. Michigan was very good against the spread this year. I just realized you have this written in the show notes, Brad. Do you mean against the spread offense or the spread in betting?
Betting.
Okay, I figured it was betting, but I was like, does Brad have an amazing breakdown of Michigan defense against the spread offense?
So I think that what happened was I was looking at this and I can't remember the specific stat, but Michigan was the best team in the Big Ten against the spread. Obviously, I think they were supposed to get 6 wins or something like that. Ended up winning the Big Ten and getting 11. Obviously, and whatever. But I don't think that Michigan was ever going to lose less than 8. But Michigan State, I think, was like number 2 or number 3, like against the spread. So just kind of like top 2 or 3 for both schools, which I just thought was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. No, and that is a good stat. And I think they could be worse against the spread. I think they could be worse against the spread. Simply because I think they're going to be favored more. They were underdogs a lot this year, or small spreads. I think they're going to be favored more, and I don't think they're going to cover as many spreads as they do. But I do still think this is a team that wins. I think they'll win. God, it's hard to say. I keep bouncing back and forth between 11-1 and 10-2. I'm gonna say 11-1. They're gonna lose one game, most likely to Ohio State. Sorry, like I know they just beat them, but it's a until proven otherwise.
Well,
right?
it's also in Columbus, and the team's gonna be better.
C.J. Stroud with another year under his belt. Ohio State showed that even though they're losing a bunch of receivers to the draft, they got a ton more coming.
And the scariest thing for me about Ohio State is just the team that's coming back. Like just because I think it's the defense. The defense is what stands out to me. And
I felt like their defense was like one of their less. I thought their secondary was not great compared to previous years.
Well, so something that I want to remember who broke this down. I think it was Colton Pouncey at maybe it wasn't. I could be giving the credit wrong. Either way, it was an athletic writer, and he had said something about Ohio State And the reason why they had lost that game to Oregon earlier in the year was because Ohio State was utilizing a lot of single high safety, and what they were doing is that was freeing more people up to defend the run. And once they and that's actually one of the reasons why I wasn't sure, and I thought Ohio State, their offense would tear apart Michigan State. Okay, like Ohio State's offense versus Michigan State's defense, like I knew that was like overmatch. Okay, now I did not anticipate Michigan State doing so poorly against Ohio State's defense, because that's the one part I thought that Michigan State might have some success. And I just wasn't sure, because again, like when they had played Oregon before, they had used that single high safety look to defend the run and free up more guys to do that. Now, Michigan State is the first team since Oregon at the time that Ohio State has faced that had a rushing attack of any kind. And again, they had Kenneth Walker III, and I thought that might have allowed Michigan State to do way more offensively, just having him and having Peyton Thorne and having those sorts of weapons on offense. But that did not turn out to be the case, because Ohio State was just overmatched and out-physicalized in every single way. And that's why I think that for Ohio State next year, and I'm sorry to do like a full-on Ohio State breakdown right now, but their defense is going to be a lot better, just because like I don't think that Ohio State and Ryan Day is going to have another season like this in a row. Like, you're just not going to see it. You're just not going to see it. It's the same reason why I don't think that Michigan loses to Michigan State next year, because I can't imagine it happening 3 times in a row.
I can't either. That's what I was going to say. I think they go 11-1 with a loss to Ohio State. I think they beat Michigan State, because I think Michigan State is going to take. I don't know if step back is the right word, but like this year was a magical year for them, right? Very improbable. You know, they beat Penn State. Honestly, though, Penn State cost themselves that win. But hey, you beat who's on your schedule. A win's a win. I'm not discrediting Michigan State's victory there. They beat Michigan 100% deservedly. And I just don't. I think a lot of that was because of Kenneth Walker. And I think we kind of saw in the Peach Bowl the issue of like how different that team looks without Kenneth Walker on the field. And I think they have some good pieces, and they have the transfer portal, and we'll see what that brings in helping the defense and the secondary. But I do think they take a step back next year. But again, it's not because the team is worse or Tucker's not doing his job. It's just I think this year they were way better than they had any right being. Like, this should have been like a 6-6, 7-5 year, maybe even 8-4. That would have been a good year. So the fact that they won 10 games.
So without Kenneth Walker III, without him, I think that this team is like you're treading 4 wins. You're treading 5 wins.
No, I think 6-6 was like your expectation. Like, I think you'd be like, come on, they could have made a bowl. They can go 6. When you look at who's in the Big Ten, I think
the prediction for this year, oh my goodness, that was a crazy one, because like I think that was the issue, right? That that like Michigan and Michigan State has sort of surprised people, right? That like they were kind of surprising in that way, that nobody thought that they would be as good as they are. I mean, Michigan won 6 games and Michigan State won more than 4.5. I mean, that was kind of the thing, right? I don't know if like the same predictions are going to hold true next season. The issue that I have for both is that Michigan doesn't know who their quarterback is, but also they don't know who their coach is. But if you assume it, like, okay, so Michigan's record with Jim Harbaugh at the helm, what is it?
A lot of empty wins and only a few big ones.
So without Jim Harbaugh, do you think which
Jim
players
Harbaugh's
do you think
90
leave?
Wait.
Which
I just won his Michigan. He's 85 or sorry, 61 and 24.
So without Jim Harbaugh, who leaves for Michigan? Who do you think leaves? Like JJ's got to be one.
Probably. Cade would stay.
You think so? I think you could foresee an issue.
If JJ leaves, Cade would stay because he's still the starter at Michigan. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you never know because I could also foresee a situation where if Cade leaves, JJ stays. And I mean, obviously both of them could leave. But like I think it would probably depend on the coach, obviously. Like if you got a coach that comes in who has like a spread style like playbook, like you could see, JJ staying because he would fit that offense more. But who knows?
Yeah, I think that will also depend. But there's just so many things up in the air with Michigan.
Right.
Like Michigan State, it's kind of clear. You're on the right path.
Right.
You got Tucker. He's working that portal. He's getting the recruits. They're going to have, I think, a slightly worse year because you're not going to find Kenneth Walker in the fucking transfer portal every time. They're going to go, like I said, they're going to get 8-9 wins, and that's a good year when you consider what's happening. I think they lose to, Michigan State, or they lose to Michigan, they lose to Ohio State, and they'll lose to like Penn State or something. But I think they could pull an upset in there. Wouldn't be surprised either.
So for Michigan State, I think obviously their defense is going to improve. You're going to probably see the offense deprove a little bit or digress. The question mark I have really is who the teams they lose to are and how frequent they. I mean, for all I know, they could lose 5. I don't know. But I think that they'll obviously, and I don't think that Penn State will be one of those teams. That one's kind of a wild card game. I think that they'll for sure lose to Michigan, Ohio State, and maybe I'm just setting my hopes up for that Michigan game. But Michigan, Ohio State, and Wisconsin is the other one. Because I don't think that Wisconsin's also one of those teams where they're not gonna do this bad 2 years in a row. And even though like Michigan, like the issue because does Michigan play Wisconsin in 2022?
I don't think so.
Well, I got lucky there. Whoever Wisconsin plays, because Wisconsin, I always say, playing Wisconsin is really, really hard on the road because you just have. I think it was Iowa or something like that. I thought that Iowa was gonna do a hell of a job. They don't play them. They play Minnesota, Iowa. The 3 Big East teams are Maryland. Well, that's a cupcake. Michigan State and Ohio State. So I guess that's pretty rough. But anyway, but my point is though is I think that Wisconsin could easily win that game. I think that's a winnable game for Wisconsin. I don't know. It's one of those things. I think the wild card game though is Penn State. I think that Penn State is the game that Michigan could be the difference between an 8-4 season and a 9-3 season. Because James Franklin, I don't know what his deal is, It's hard to predict because the game that Penn State played against Michigan State this year, completely winnable game. And Penn State coached themselves out of that, and it just kind of, even though I know it was snowing, I know the weather was terrible, but it still is hard to believe that James Franklin could do anything. The fact that he got an extension was insane. I just couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is very strange.
I mean, it's worse than Harbaugh getting an extension.
Yeah,
in a way. But
yeah, because at least Harbaugh has At least, I know he hadn't before, but he was always closer, I feel like, to winning the Big Ten than Franklin ever was.
Oh,
So
well, yeah. I mean, you did have like there were like 4 years in a row of New Year's Six bowls that James Franklin had gotten to. But like those are like 3 years removed. Like those have happened so far long ago that I don't think that Penn State fans give a shit about those anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's as if me justifying Mel Tucker rehiring Mel Tucker 2 years from now based on this year's Peach Bowl. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what have you done for me lately?
I think, but to wrap up our way too early preview, I think Michigan's gonna, kind of go back to their old form, win 10, 11 games, lose the important ones, lose the big ones, and I think Michigan State was going to lose against most of their, harder opponents in Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
Because you can all see this. You can all see all of this as a preview.
So I think they're going to go 9-3. Or maybe even 10-2 with an upset tossed in.
That's great.
But I think I still like Michigan State's trajectory better than Michigan's, unless they can again win the Big Ten again this year, and then I'll have more faith in Harbaugh. And that's assuming he's even here. So
if you're Harbaugh, why don't you? I mean, if I'm offered the Bears job or the Raiders job, I just fucking leave. Just get out of here.
Yeah, I think especially if the school isn't going to give him NIL money to play with.
I think it's a better gig. Portal. I mean, because you kind of go out on a high. I don't think Michigan fans would hate you. I don't know. It seems like
no, they didn't hate him when he was losing. So
yeah, well,
maybe they were starting to, but then he won, and now all's forgiven. So whatever. Anyway, all right, Brad, you want to talk about the Titans?
I do want to talk about the Titans. Griff, did I ever tell you about the Titans? They are a top seed right now.
Am I supposed to remember the Titans? Is that?
Listen, they are a top seed in the AFC right now. All right, can you believe it? They're a top seed in the AFC, and they may win the Super Bowl. What do you think the chances of them winning the Super Bowl are? I'm not quizzing you, by the way. I don't have a
no. If I had to say, I would put them like fourth best chance. I think.
Okay. You're absolutely right.
Of making it to the Super Bowl, it's either them or the Chiefs. I have in my bracket. It's going to be them and the Chiefs in the AFC title game.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs will win. But we saw earlier this year the Titans beat the Chiefs very handedly. Although I think the Chiefs have kind of figured
if
out
the Bills beat the Chiefs, that's like an easy pass.
I think depending on how the Bills look against the Chiefs, we could, we'll have to see. I think, we're going to see what happens this week. Hey, they got to beat the Bengals, beat the team in front of you. I think they've been so overlooked because once they lost Derrick Henry, I mean, it just kind of felt like their season was over. And
yeah, I remember everyone talking about that. Everyone was like, "Oh, the Titans are done now. Like this is so disappointing." Yada yada yada.
Yeah, and then they just kind of kept quietly winning games on their backups. And granted, they play in a very bad division with the Jaguars and the Houston Texans. They got to face those teams twice. But hey, you beat the teams on your schedule and you beat who's in front of you. So I think I don't know, man. I think they beat the Bengals just because the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow, but he hasn't impressed. They did not look good to me last week, and that concerns me. And I think they can beat the Chiefs. They beat them before. I think they know the formula. It's just a matter of can they execute. Does Henry look like he's fully ready to go? And if he does, yeah, the Titans could be in the Super Bowl going against the Packers or maybe the Rams or the Bucks. But for now it's just they need to show me. I need to see it this week. I need to see the team operating at full capacity because it's playoff time. You got to go. That's all it is right now. So that's kind of my thoughts on them. I think, I do think they have a decent shot to make the Super Bowl. It's beat the Bengals.
Do you think the Titans right now are being like, sort of, what's the word? Like not underappreciated, but underrated?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. They're definitely being underrated and
underhyped.
Yeah, like they've kind of flown under the radar, and I think a lot of that was because the Henry injury and just
nobody's giving them a chance.
They've just kind of, and they're not like the biggest of big market teams, but they're the 1 seed. I mean, they're on the same level as the Packers. I think a lot of it is just like the people really think the Chiefs have bounced back, and that it's like the Titans played their schedule, which was easier, and the only reason the Chiefs are the 2 seeds because they had a rough start, but now they've kind of gotten their stuff together. So I think people just think the Titans, while they're the 1 seed, aren't the number 1 team in the AFC. And I think that's why it's kind of flown under the radar. I think the Bills, Chiefs, that realistically, I mean, that's been the AFC title game. That was the AFC title game last year, I believe. And I could have seen it being the game this year, but the way the seeding worked out, Buffalo lost some games, so we're getting them in the divisional, which is fine. Great weekend for football. This is a really great slate of games. So, as kind of segueing to that, let's get into who you got.
Griff, yeah, I would really love to get into who you got. Let's do it. We got a great radio segment for you.
Let me give you a recap here, Brad.
All right, perfect.
We had 6 games last week, all 6 wild card games. Brad, I went 6 for 6 on my predictions. I guessed every game correctly.
Yeah, I didn't.
And you got 4 out of 6, which is still good. But here's the thing: it allowed me. You got 3 out of 6. It allowed me to take a 2-point lead in who you got. 60 points out of 100.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what? We're getting there. So, starting off, let's look towards this weekend. AFC divisional round game. We just talked about them. The Bengals at the Titans. Brad, who you got?
Give me the Titans. And the only reason why is because the Titans have a bye. Do you know how much easier it is to win your playoff games when you come off of a bye? And, and we talk all about that, right? We're
not worried about rust, Brad? You're not worried about, the there's a lot of concerns.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
For too long.
Do you know why, though? Because, I want you to look it up, and not right now, but anytime you want. What are the chances, or how many in previous years when the NFL had that format of two bye teams in every conference in every playoffs? Mm-hmm. When that was the case, most teams that win were bye teams. They get a bye week, and those are just the best teams and the best record. But there is also, it's actually kind of funny. You know what the sweet spot is, Griff? The sweet spot is number 2. The number 2 seed was always the sweet spot because you still got a bye week, but you didn't have the best record. Well, I guess if you could technically not have the best. The team without the best record is usually the one that doesn't win. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I think that solely because of the bye week, I think that Tennessee's going to take it. Tennessee's going to take it as my mathematical algorithm.
I'm taking Tennessee because if I just pick all the same games as you, you can never take your lead.
That should have been my strategy. That's what I should have done. That is what I should have done.
No,
damn.
Seriousness. I am taking the Titans. The Bengals didn't impress me last week. I'm a little concerned. I'm more concerned on the defense, and I think the offense looked a little flat at times. And now I know full well Joe Burrow could turn it around this week and become, show up the way he normally does. But I got to take the Titans for now. I think with Derrick Henry coming back, if he's full go, they're looking good. So, Brad, moving on. The other AFC divisional game. This is the game of the week. such a great matchup. Bills at Chiefs, playing in Arrowhead. Don't know what the weather's going to be like. Probably cold, but nothing else too crazy. What? I don't know why I said what. Who do you got, and why do you got them?
I want to take the Bills so fucking bad, but I won't.
Brad.
I won't. I got to take the Chiefs. If I was ahead and I was feeling a little more frisky, maybe I take the Bills, but I gotta take the Chiefs because that's a safe bet. Can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in his prime. Can't do that. So I gotta take Kansas City. Gotta do that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I just think
You're just betting this same shit as me.
Bills' offense was firing on all cylinders last week. And could they again this week? Absolutely. They give Josh Allen some more Viagra to help him in the cold and keep his blood flow going, his circulation. But no, I just think KC can score on you in a million different ways. The defense can do enough to stop and disrupt Josh Allen. I gotta take Kansas City. I gotta go with the Chiefs. All right, Brad, moving on to the NFC. We have the 49ers going to Lambeau to take on the fighting Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers. Who do you got? Why do you got them?
Griff, I want to know who you got, actually.
All right, I can tell you first, just so we know. I'm taking the Packers. Obviously, the Packers were already going to be heavy. I think they're 6-point favorites now. They were going to be favorites going into this. They're coming off a bye. They're the number 1 seed. They got home field advantage in Lambeau, one of the toughest places to go and win. And the 49ers, you got to trust Jimmy Jesus, which I don't know if you can do. He looked very suspect last week against the Cowboys. They might not have Nick Bosa because of a concussion, and it doesn't look like Fred Warner's going to play. So they lost their 2 best pieces on that defense. That all adds up to a pretty bad situation for the 49ers. As much as I'd love to see the Packers lose, I don't think they do. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. Do you know why? Because the Packers. And again, for all the reasons you just said, the 49ers are just worse. Sorry. The issue,
they're probably the worst team. Yeah.
Well, and I remember watching them at the beginning of the season, and I just thought, no, and then I'm like, how is this team a playoff team? No idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta take Green Bay. As much as I hate to, but
yeah, same boat. But hey, you got to do it. All right, moving on to the final game. This is Stafford legacy on the line. Can he continue to prove the doubters? The Rams travel to Tampa Bay, Florida, to take on the Buccaneers. Take on Tom Brady, potentially without Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen. Very important to know. Brad, who you got?
I want to know who you got.
You're gonna make me go first.
Come on, I gotta.
We have matched on every pick so far.
That's the thing.
My heart, the heart is telling me Matthew Stafford. John Matthew Stafford is going to go into Tampa Bay and book his ticket to the NFC title game. That's what my heart is telling me, Brad. But my brain is going another way. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs. This is a much better defense. I feel like Stafford is prone to make some mistake here that will cost the game. And also, it's just, I don't think that I talked to you about this earlier. I don't think the Rams defense is as great as it seems. They have 2 of the best players in all of the NFL with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. But after that, who else? Yeah, Eric Weddle as your depth safety. It's just not good. I think teams can scheme away from Donald and Ramsey's part of the fields and find holes. And if anyone can do that, it'll be Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. I'm going to take the Bucs. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be within 3 points, but I'm taking the Bucs to win.
So if you here's how I'm going to phrase this. All right, if you give the ball if you had to pick a QB, you got to pick Matthew Stafford or Tom Brady, and you got to give him the ball with 50 seconds left. Who do you pick? You pick Tom Brady, obviously, right? Like, you trust Tom Brady more.
In that instance, I might pick Stafford because he does have a weird clutch gene, and he also can. He's got more arm strength.
That's fair. That's fair.
He's got more arm. Now, if it's hey, you're tied, you're like tied going into the fourth quarter, and you need someone to play a good fourth quarter football, then give me Tom Brady all day. Which is where I think this game will be sitting at.
Here's the issue with me, okay? And I made you go first for a reason, because I gone first the whole time. Every single time we've done this segment,
yep.
I've gone first every time. This time I let you go first, all right? And I'm gonna pick opposite you. So I'm picking the Rams, and I'm gonna rely on Matty Staffy, because it is just, I just have to. I gotta. What other chance do I have of winning? Like, I don't got much. So this is where the risk comes in. I mean, the only other game that I think I could think of right now that maybe I might take is the Bills over the Chiefs, but that one is a little bit too risky for me.
See, I'd probably lean more in that game than this one. But
That's
hey,
fair.
Man, it's your pick, and I do respect it because I do think the Rams.
Yeah, but I keep thinking back to Josh Allen last year in the playoffs and how horrible that was.
Yeah, but
I just can't.
That is recency bias. All right, Brad is taking the Rams. All right, Brad, to finish out the show, let's move on to our betting segment, one we still don't have a name for.
We
terrible.
don't have any name for it.
Listen, I just want to call it, like, I don't know, cash the ticket or the bet slip or something.
Well, we will get one next week, I promise.
Okay. Anyway, me and Brad have not had a great start to this. Our predictions on picking winners in the NFL and picking against the spreads in college has been, which, that is betting, has been great. But man, now it's only 2 weeks, small sample size. Not good though. Brad is down 2 units. I am down 0.6 units thanks to my money line pick of the 49ers last week. Man, I took that we both took Rams Cardinals to have the over. And the Rams offense did not the Cardinals offense didn't show up. Rams put up 34 points. Cardinals put up 11. Couldn't get us to that 49 mark. I took the under in Bills Patriots because I thought the weather was going to affect the game. Now, in my defense, how the Bills had 7 drives and scored 7 touchdowns. Like, come on. That's hard to predict, because like the Patriots side, they only scored 14. I just didn't expect the Bills to score that many. But man, did they just keep scoring. So that's kind of where we're sitting at. Brad, I got, technically, it's 3 bets, but one of them I'm parlaying into a same-game parlay. So I love 49ers plus 6. I know I just picked the Packers to win, but 6 points is a lot in the divisional round. I think the 49ers are... They're a pretty good team, right? Let's be real. They're a very physical team. They have a great offensive line, and they're going to line up and they're going to feed you pizza and say, hey, we're running the football. But I don't want you to run the football. We're running the football. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to line up and do what they want in that regard. My question marks really are, can Jimmy G throw the ball when he has to, not turn the ball over in the red zone, et cetera, not throw a terrible throw, a pick to keep a team in the game? And is the defense going to be able to step up, considering they might have 2 major players out? I don't think the 49ers will win, but I think they can cover this number. And the thing is, if the 49ers cover this number and keep it within 6, it'll be because of good defense. I don't think they're going to score 40 points, right? I don't think they're going to score 27. And if they keep this close, it'll be a 21-27 kind of game. 21, 24-esque. So I'm going to take the Niners plus 6. And then I also like the 49ers Packers under in this game at 47.5. You can bet those separate, but I think the value is to bet them together because I think if the 49ers cover, I think it also means the Packers. I think this game also hits the under because that tells me it's a low scoring, close game. So if I would take the parlay in this situation, parlay it together 40 for plus 248 odds. That's how I'm going to bet it for the sake of the show. But if you wanted to bet them separate or take one or the other, go ahead. My final bet is just going to be this: Rams +3. I picked the Bucks to win, but I think the Rams will keep it close. This has got 28-27 written all over it, or 35, 34, 30-27. I think the Rams keep this within 3. So I'm taking the Rams +3. I think there's a chance they win it outright, especially if Ryan Jensen and or Tristan Wirfs don't play. I think that'll be a huge help for the Rams for Brady to not have 2 of his best offensive linemen. So that is what I'm taking. That's what I'm putting on the board.
So I'm not great at this. Okay. As we can tell. Like, I'm just so bad. So maybe don't listen to me. Anyway, so just to begin, and we've already talked about what, I think about the Bengals Titans game. Well, I picked the Titans in who you got. All right. But I do have Bengals money line right here, sitting right here. Now, why is that? Now, so here's the thing. I think that the Titans will win this game. I do, okay? And I know this isn't really selling it, but the Bengals, the line here just feels a little too easy, because on like the off chance that the Bengals do win, this is some easy money, is not? This is like, just looking this is like French fries and pizza, whatever the fuck you're talking about. I really think that, like, and again, like maybe there's a 1 in 10 chance that but the Bengals have the potential. Like, Joe Burrow has the potential to win this game. Like, I don't think that this is some whitewash that people think it's gonna be. I don't think that the Bengals can't keep up with the Titans or whatever have you. I really think that, like, again, like if this comes down to it, I think that, this is a good line to take. This is a smart bet to make, and that just rhymes. So that's that on that. Second one I got is Rams Bucks over 48.5. Now, that requires the score to be 24-23, right? No. Be like 27-25, something like that. Anyway, so it's not a lot of points. Not a lot. 48.5 is not a lot of points. And this could go one of two ways, though. Because this could be high offense, but because I think that sometimes offense reacts to offense, and seeing that may drive the score up, or a lot of defense. So I'm really hoping it slides in the over. I think, again, that's kind of a 50-50 deal. I'm not really selling these at all. I got the Capitals and the Bruins in the NHL. Money line, baby. Capitals money line, I believe, is plus 125. Let me double check that. Bet something. What site was I on?
Probably FanDuel.
No, fuck. That doesn't matter. Anyway, one of them is the underdog. I think it was the Capitals, because the issue was that
most likely.
So the underdog was the Capitals. I want to take the underdog. It was 125, and it was a good line to take. And I honestly can't believe that was the line. Because the Capitals and the Bruins have like identical records. The only difference is that one of them has played more games and one of them played less games.
Yeah,
and
the Bruins had a lot of games to make up.
And I really think that if you parlay things together or do something with something, you could get a good match out of this line right here. Because again, I just like the number. That's all I'll say. So I like the number. and it doesn't. And I'm not usually I'm usually very averse to taking hockey games, but I've been trying to fit some non-football games in there because football is not my strong suit either. But that's our betting segment that we don't have a name for. I know.
No,
crazy.
I feel good about these. I'm a little nervous about the parlay, but I'm gonna try and get some of the money back, get some of the units back, and I feel good about it. I think, like I said, I like that Niners one. So, and I actually like the Rams Bucks over. I'm just I don't know, man. Stafford is what Stafford and the Bucks O line is what concerns me. But this game absolutely has the potential to be like 34-35 or something.
No, I get it.
Hell, 27-28 would do it. So that's a very achievable score. So anyway, Brad, do you have anything else for the people?
Absolutely not. Never. I never have anything for the people.
I hate them. Eat shit for listening to us.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell?
All right. With that being said, then, everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode of Take This. I will be off next week. I will be in Florida. Brad will probably do something fun for you guys while I am gone. Probably he's gonna do an hour and 30 minutes on MSU hockey. It's gonna be great.
Oh, I can't wait.
But he'll take care of you next week. I will send in some bets for him to read off at least, so my thing can be put in there. But yeah, everyone have fun watching divisional round football this weekend. Be smart with your bets. Don't bet what you can't lose. Call the number, whatever it is, if you need help. We're not sponsored by a sports book, so we're not legally required to say that, but do it anyway. Don't throw your life away on gambling. It is all just for entertainment, not for money. You're not going to get rich off it. Anyway, be kind to each other. Good luck to your teams if they're in the playoffs. And don't forget to make your free throws. See you next time. Thanks again.